Jake Giffin Podcast.
Peter A. Turner, or Pete A. Turner, is an Army combat spy who runs over 1,000 missions in some of the most dangerous places on Earth. He learned how to cut through the lies, build trust under fire, and find the ground truth when lives depended on it. And he's here today to teach us how to do it. Welcome to the Jake Giffin Podcast, Pete A. Turner.
Thanks, Jake, man. It's awesome. I know the work it takes to build a show and to make it happen. And so when I say this, I really appreciate being on the show. Good for you for doing this. And thank you for letting me share your time with your audience. And thank you for listening. This is great. I love everybody. Let's go ahead and do this thing.
Yeah. I mean, and you're no stranger to podcasts. You have over 900, you've been on over 900 episodes or something like that, right?
I've produced 2,000 myself, my own show, lots of guest appearances. So I keep busy for sure.
I was just looking at the one you did with Chase Hughes a few years ago.
Sure, yeah.
What is the name of your podcast, dude?
The Break It Down Show.
Break It Down Show. You've been all over the world, man, doing some like secret stuff, right? And it's and so you're pretty known for your ability to step into a dangerous situation, identify take adversity, take some insurgents and build rapport and trust with people and kind of find your way around. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the thing. I just was kind of doing some of that stuff today for my show, not spy related things, but I found myself in an amazing situation with an amazing person working inside of an incredible organization, Top Rank Boxing. And we walked into this guy Bruce's office, and Bruce is a Hall of Famer in several Halls of Fame. I looked on his bookshelf because he reads books that informs him, and I said, this guy loves baseball. And so it unlocked a question for me that I was able to ask him that I'm positive is rarely asked of him. And it also gave me an opportunity to maybe connect him to someone that he went to school with in college. And that guy's name is Mike Schmidt. And so Bruce and Mike are both Hall of Fame level dudes. They're both incredible in the sporting world. And he's like, I've never met Mike Schmidt. I'd love to meet him. I should have met him a long time ago. And I'm like, well, let me see if I can solve that. And this is the kind of thing, and this is the thing, Jake's like, if I can do that, who cares, right? But that turns into business. That turns into wins in other ways that I can't account for. Will Bruce and I ever do business? I have no idea. But if I can connect Bruce and Mike Schmidt, it's just a small thing, are relevant to his world that aren't, tell me where you grew up, that kind of thing, right? I'm not going to tell me where you grew up, but it's a deeper level of question.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about questions and eliciting information from people and doing all that stuff. I want to talk about perceptions first. As a Joe Schmo, I am probably, out of the trillion bits of data that are coming into my senses at any given moment, I'm deleting 99% of it, right? Only, what is that? A fraction of it really matters to my life at any given moment. And, one of my favorite movies is the Jason Bourne series. And one of my favorite scenes is when he's sitting in the diner with the girl. He's having this existential crisis. He has no idea who he is. He's got a table full of passports, cash, and I think he's got a gun in the bag. And she waves it off like, hey, no big deal, man. We all look at exits. And he was like, yeah, but I can tell you every license plate number of the 6 cars in the parking lot. I can tell you that our waitress is left-handed. The guy at the bar weighs 215 pounds and he can handle himself. I know the best place to find a gun is in the cab of the gray truck outside. And I know that at this altitude, I can sprint full out for a half a mile before my hands get shaky. Why do I know this?
Yeah.
Right. And so, so I got Joe Schmo perception and he's got Jason Bourne perception. What amount of data are you taking on when you get off the airplane in Bosnia? To handle secret stuff? What is that like?
That's a different conversation than just day to day, right? Because that's like, what amount of stuff is going through Tom Brady's head when he steps onto a football field, So that's different than what's Pete doing at the mall, kind of things. Different games. I'm not playing the game, right? My job is very dangerous and I'm doing it in a dangerous place.
Right.
So I have to be more switched on than the average person. So Joe Schmo can't do what I do in those cases because it's overwhelming. If I went to go do this, I probably wouldn't hit the same heights. I'm older. I don't do it every day, but I still would. I could turn it on faster than you can, just like any old athlete. I turn it on faster than you guys could. You mess around with a 70-year-old boxer, you're still going to get knocked out. I still have that skill set, but I don't have to turn it on all the time. And that's thank God for me, because that burns up batteries. That burns up.
How long can you be on like that? And for how long can you be on?
Thankfully, I don't have to be on like that all the time. There are times when I have to be on and maybe at that level or approaching that level, but not as often now, right? Because I'm not playing a life and death game. When I'm doing this show, I was exhausted when I was done. And is that because my machine runs at a higher rate than somebody else's does? Probably. I'm probably paying attention to where I'm processing things, faster than most folks, because I've developed, it's like in an interview, like right now we're doing this. I'm able to keep track of several things. I know where my voice is in my chest right here. You can hear me making it a little lower, right? I'm aware of these things. And I'm able to track multiple, like my buddy just walked by, right? I'm able to track these things without breaking attention. So I can focus my attention on you. I'm looking specifically at my camera right now. And so that's kind of like where the difference is it's not necessarily 100 things. I'm getting more out of the 20 that I'm paying attention to. And if I need to really pay attention, I can dial it up to now I'm paying attention to 50 things. And I might memorize a license plate. I might know that if you go into any boat, I know kind of basically where the keys are going to be in any boat, because people often leave the keys in the boat. I might know the person who can handle himself in the room. I'll figure out, and I don't do this actively anymore, but if I go to a place, I have an idea of where the exit is besides the front door that I came in.
That's got to be like the white belt version of whatever, military training you've had, right? Like the first day of training, they're like, first thing you do when you go into a room is note the exits.
I don't like to have my back to the door. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, because whatever the problem is going to be, that's not going to be the problem, right? And so that's a good base level for someone who's like a white belt, right? Like, I don't never have my back to the door. I would say a pro is like, who cares about that?
Yeah.
I can deal with higher level problems. Smash cut to me getting my head kicked in because I have my back to the door, anything can happen. So there is different level of attention, and there are different ways to rank these things that are problems. Probably more important than where my back is the attitude that I present to the people that I come in, my willingness to say thank you and to see someone and to really try to connect with people, and say, hey, I appreciate you being the hostess. You hear us all the time, but really thanks. I appreciate you taking the time to take care of me. That kind of thing allows me to connect people at a slightly better rate than somebody else. And those rates of connection help me at a slightly greater rate than somebody else. So I'm just doing a slightly better job at doing slightly small things, but across a wide spectrum.
How important is it to understand the culture that you're going into in order to, let's say, build rapport with the people that you're trying to influence or get information from?
Do you want the black belt answer?
I want the black belt answer.
It doesn't matter. What matters is my approach, right? So if I have a goal, like if I'm going to come and I'm going to hang out with you, I want to accomplish it on your cultural path. I want it to be normal for you. So sure, we're from the same basic place, but California, Missouri, Maine, all different places, even though we're all from the same place. How we do things are different. And so if the guy in Texas is like, that's not how we do things around here, y'all, I have to go, okay, how do you do things around here? And then they'll say, well, here's how we do that. And so my ability is to withstand the miscomfort of being in your culture enough so that I can get done what I need to do, while also learning about you. And so I'd rather learn your culture from you than to read it in a book or have someone say, don't make this gesture when you go to Kentucky or whatever it is.
In California.
Okay, so you're both Californians. Okay, let's say are you by San Francisco or are you by LA?
No, I'm Huntington Beach.
So if I was to say to you and I wanted directions, you would say, oh, well, you're going to take the 22 over to the 5, and then you get off on the 5, you're going to get off on the 610. Actually, scratch that. Don't take the 610 because a lot of semis go on that. I want you to go up to the 710. Okay. If I'm not from Southern California, I don't know what you're talking about because you're saying the in front of all the freeways, right? And this is a small thing that we do in Southern California. I adjust my culture to where I'm at so that it's easier on everybody else. And I don't stand out as being someone who's from a different place and requires more attention.
In a clandestine situation, if you slip up and you say, how big a problem is that?
Maybe not a problem at all. Maybe you just play the route from LA, and that's what you're trying to do. I grew up at the Bay, so I know how to speak Northern California road language, right? So it's a native thing for me. But if I'm in Texas, if I'm in Atlanta, anywhere in Georgia, and I see a bunch of red trucks in the parking lot, I guarantee you those folks love Georgia football.
Oh,
I buy red trucks there, right? It's a thing. So I allow that to be them. And then I'll use my rudeness, like, hey, why do you guys all have red trucks? And then they're going to go crazy telling me about Georgia Bulldogs. And I'm going to have them eating out of the palm of my hand because I've hit something that they're so passionate about that they can't let it go.
yeah. In NLP, we call it second position or perceptual, like walking in somebody else's shoes.
Okay. Yeah.
Like by understanding their map of the world and joining them in that map.
I don't know what NLP is, but I'm sure we're going to be talking about the same thing. So there's a couple things I would add to that. So I meet you. Oh, you're from Huntington Beach. I'm from Tustin. Oh, we just fence posted in my world, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You got kids like, oh, look, another fence post, and our fences are getting closer until finally we've built this fence together. And I also talk about the infrastructure of the mind, right? I don't want to just run through your mind trying to trick you and baffle you with all of my spy bullshit. I want to know who you are so that I can definitely go around the obstacles because your map is more important than my map. I know my map. How do I use your map, again, to accomplish a thing? So the cultural part, the mind mapping, all those things, that fence building that I talked about, all that stuff, more often than not, helps you get to where you want to get to. Now, again, cut to me failing horribly at this because all of this stuff is built on the back of failure, and this the second I fully learn a lesson will be the first time.
When was the last time you got fooled or you believed something that turned out to be wrong about any given dangerous scenario you've been
every
in?
day?
Every day.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah, because I can't comprehend the amount of mistakes that I make. It's not to be a negative, but it's to accept my fallibility. I make mistakes all the time. So let's say my special summoner and I were talking about something and she'll say, oh, this and this and this. And my instant response is like, that's not true. And then I'll think, you know what? I don't know. I made that mistake before. Maybe you're right. Let's go check together or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that's just, again, that's like remember when the Dick Van Dyke show would start in the beginning and he'd walk around the hassock, and he would avoid the trip, or he would trip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going around the hassock a little more often than regular folks.
Yeah. So in your world, it's like jujitsu, right? It's kind of like you're adapting to their map. Wherever they go, you go, using their momentum as it presents itself favorably, I guess.
Yeah. And if you and I were to roll and do jujitsu and I was working real hard, I'm going to offer you a joint, a hunk arm, and I'm overworking, right? I don't want to get too hyped up, but I want to make sure my energy is high enough so that, and so you are trying to do those things. And that's part of the exhausting part where you're just like, I cannot believe how tired I am. Why am I so tired? Oh, because I've been trying to like standing on a Bosa ball, if we're going to use fitness stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that thing exhausts you, right? Standing on a stand-up paddleboard.
Yep.
Same kind of thing, man. You're trying to find that balance in your approach. Sometimes you have to take the initiative, go straight to it. Sometimes you walk into the bar and you see the pretty girl and you're like, you are gorgeous. And how have I never asked you out before? And you just go ask for what you want. And then she's like, why don't we go out right now? And you leave the bar with the girl. And it takes you 30 seconds.
Sure.
So,
right.
Yeah, right. For sure. Right. And you're going to do that and you're going to crash and burn sometimes. But if your friend bets you, I bet you can't go talk to that girl and get her phone number in 30 seconds. I promise I can. I'll take your money all day long because I don't care what happens 5 minutes after that.
Yeah. But I just recently, probably within the last 10 years, learned something about myself that I need your help with right now, because my superpower is rapport building.
Okay.
Build rapport with anybody. Doesn't matter the culture, doesn't matter the people, it doesn't matter. And I always thought that was in sales, it's helped me a lot. In sales management and coaching people, it's a great tool. But I recognized several years ago now that tool was built on the back of wanting to be liked.
Ooh.
And
same probably.
Yeah. What would I learn going into, let's say, the field of secrecy or clandestine missions in Bosnia, when I'm trying to elicit information from people?
There's the people pleasing part, and there's also not self-confidence, but a bit of a desperation. A lot of performers have this, otherwise you wouldn't go on stage. Like if you were wired right, you'd be like, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to go do whatever. Right? And so I think spies, my kind of spy, falls into this sort of a family of things. When I go to Bosnia, my job is to protect soldiers. I am insignificant in this world. It doesn't matter if anybody likes me. My job is to make sure that we stay safe. That's the first job that I have, right? There's other jobs, but that is the first job. And to do that, I have to go into dangerous places. I'm the only one that needs to go out. I will go out and I will try to find the impossible thing because someone has to do it. And why not me, right? I have the charm. I have the ability to build rapport. So with that, all the different things in that stack all crack into sub tasks. What I can learn from sales is, what does rapport look like? What are things that allow me to establish rapport? You gave me a great rapport building thing when you first started this little bit, where you said, you'll probably teach me something there. And I'm like, yeah, I will. You established rapport with me with that because you allowed me to be an expert. And that feels good to me. So the people pleaser in me wants to make sure that other people are pleased with me. So I want them to be great at what they are. Right. And I've learned to smooth out the negativeness out of that for the most part. But it's not about me, but it has to be about me. I think the room. So I have to build rapport. And you don't just say, oh, you build rapport. Like, no, there's a system there and there's a test. And rapport precedes trust in most cases. So if I want to build trust, I have to build rapport. And if I can't talk intelligently about building rapport, and I don't know that, oh, I'm a people pleaser person, then I'm not identifying the things about me and about the other person that I need to find. So when I go to fence build, if I'm off in how I'm approaching this thing and I'm too arrogant or I'm too awkward or whatever it is to accomplish that, I have to back up. I have to regress and figure out, what did I do wrong? And how do I build better rapport than what I was doing 3 minutes ago, right? First impressions can ruin things. For sure, it can make it worse for you. But if you're deliberate and you make mistakes and you over time reduce those mistakes that you make repeatedly, you will reliably get to rapport faster. You will get to, which I think is more important, trust and trust building. I go to Bosnia. When a farmer talks to me, I know I'm exposing them to risk because they're talking to the American. And whoever's anti-American in that situation, whoever the adversary is, if they see that farmer is now exposed to harms, I have to make sure that they understand it. And so this means I have to expose myself to harm. So I'm exchanging higher and higher level trust over time. Now, you don't do this just in 5 minutes sometimes, but that's not the norm. The norm is you take time. And when I start to hear, when I'm talking to Jake and Jake's like, you know what? And you say one of my things and I'm like, ooh, I've gotten into Jake's world enough that Jake has captured something I say. In my world, sometimes I'll say catchy things or I'll turn a phrase around and I'll hear someone else say it. I hear that. That's my license plate in the parking lot. And I go, okay, there's more here in my relationship than I've realized that I've built with this person. Then I spend more time understanding that. And I'm doing all of these little things so that rapport is, I'm not trying to do it faster. I'm trying to make a pure rapport. I'm trying to make a higher quality rapport.
Interesting.
So that when I slide into trust, and they'll overlap, that my trust building, I'll be direct with my date. Like, hey, Jake, listen, I mean this 100%. I'm saying this actually live to you right now. We live so close to each other. We absolutely got to go out and get coffee and a beer sometime. Right. Yeah. And there's a little bit of exposure there. It's tiny, but when you're in a war zone, the same kind of thing applies. And so I'll say, I don't know what your schedule is like, but let's find a time when you're open. I'll come to you and I'll go wherever you want. And just, and that's it. Right. So I'm building trust and rapport with you at the same time. And I'm asking essentially nothing of you other than maybe we go have coffee together.
But you're opening yourself up to a vulnerability of possible rejection or embarrassment or something like that. Is that
my head caved in, I mean, people get afraid of these things. I'm here in Vegas and I met a couple of people I've only known on the internet. And they're like, you know what? You're the only person that I value my privacy. I swear to God, this happened. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm not going to take a bunch of pictures of you and put them on the internet because I get that about you with no pictures of you are on your account. Your account name is an alias. And thank you for honoring me and respecting me and my ability to hold that secret for you. And I have no problem with that. And so yesterday I met 3 different people that I've never seen face to face. And I won't, if they don't want me to, I would never tell the others, even though they're all live in the same town, I would never tell them about each other. In this case, they all knew each other from the same X, we're on X. And that, but I might be able to weave all 4 of us into a more pure group relationship, which benefits them. And so this is sort of my goal with everything. That's why I want to introduce Bruce Trampler to Mike Schmidt, because I can improve the purity, the quality, and the joy of their lives. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. When people think of spy or clandestine work, they think of deception and other things. You're not being deceptive in this. You're looking at it as a service of connecting pieces, protecting your troops, first of all, protecting the soldiers, and then building those bridges, those fences, as you put it, so that these pieces connect in a real, authentic non-deceptive way. Is that a good way to put it?
I think so. Yeah. And now let's put a little deception back in there. Let's say that you and I are talking, and we will, right? And I say to you, well, who's someone you'd love to meet professionally, but you just don't have the knowledge, the warehouse, the courage, whatever it is, right? Even if it's a sales thing, like if you're in sales, who's a dream client? I'd love to meet this company.
Mhm.
All right. Why don't we? I'll reach out to them on my end through my show. My show is very powerful, and I reliably can get someone from that organization on my show. You come in as guest host, and now you've just met someone from your dream company. Maybe it's the CEO, maybe it's somebody else, but I've not kicked down the door. I've gently opened the door. Now, look, there's some deception in there, right? I'm not going to tell them this op that I just ran on them. And I swear to God, I had this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. He's a very notable person in my world who I don't know, but this person is an FBI agent, counterintelligence person. I'm a counterintelligence person, Army. I talk that person's language. This person is very successful.
Yeah.
My partner is, my friend in this case, is a handsome lawyer, great guy. And he's like, if we could fix my misstart with this lovely person, that'd be great. And I'm like, well, what if I did this, this, and this? And the things would be basically, I would go into a different door, right? This is deception. I'm doing this on purpose. And I would meet this person because I can. And my show will make it so that that person could talk to me on my show. And then I'll, oopsie daisy, mention that I know this person, my friend. And all of a sudden, you know him. Oh, and then something will happen. I don't know what it'll be, but I can create this deceptive occurrence because I've run an op on this person. I don't intend to harm them, right? But it can happen. So at my podcast, I can use it to create value for somebody else. And that welds us to, that's a fence building thing. And now, because I'm being pure in my intent and everything, I also know the FBI counterintelligence person. And so now there's this three-way benefit. And hopefully, if I've done my job well, everybody's happy that this happened. Even if their relationship doesn't happen, it's still like, oh, wow, this is great that we connected. And so that ability to network, which is inborn on my show, is all born out of spy stuff. I have to have a powerful network that I could reach into and talk to people and improve other people's lives, because then I get what I want. And I don't know what I want, but great things come out of those environments.
So you don't really know what you want, but you know that certain people are going to be valuable. Maybe it's like there's certain people that you make these connections, these fence posts. Knowing more people is better than knowing less people.
Right. Exactly.
And when the opportunities come, then at least I have pieces, tools that I can pull from to connect that might get me to where I need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't treat relationships precious. Look, some you have to, right? But for the most part, the vast majority is, oh, I know you should know this person. This person knows me. At worst, I'll send a text, hey, I'm going to introduce you to my buddy Jake, right? Or I'll just go text Jake, other person, hey, you don't know Jake, but he's a real good dude. And I thought of you guys, and I thought maybe at a minimum, you should get coffee. You guys live by each other. And so that'll be it. But that's already like rare to have someone take that risk. It's scary. I can't give out Jake's phone number. Of course I can.
Right.
Jake is in this business, and that person is in that business. And even if you're, on opposite sides of different companies, it doesn't matter, because you guys can do whatever you're going to do. And anybody who works in the same industry, they'll work for each other eventually anyhow. So just connect those people and let it be a benefit. And then when it blows up in your face, you go, well, I was just trying to connect you guys.
Right.
Worst thing,
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I listen to you talk about connecting these pieces and the things that you've done. And then I think about, like, my professional life has been, like, not even just my professional life, my whole life. I never set out to build relationships with people with the intent of it being a benefit to me. When I get the feeling that that's what I'm doing, I repel from it. Like networking events. I don't do networking events because I don't like the idea of walking around schmoozing and going, hey, I'm Jake. I own a termite company. Why don't you call me? I'm a coach. Maybe I can help.
Yeah.
There's some baggage that I have that you don't have. That's like,
well, I have it.
How do you get past it?
I don't know. I'm not that I am past it, but I am past it, right? In some ways. I do, well, at my best, I'm going to networking events. I think where I've figured it out is that my show is a networking machine, among other things. I do that because that's an inherently good thing, and I'll plant that seed and don't care if it turns into anything else. But inevitably, if I've planted 100 of those seeds, just like anything else we do, two of them are going to bear fruit. And one of those is going to be someone going, here's a check, Pete. Bam. And I'm saying a check, some kind of value. Where they're like, hey, whatever. And the other thing I would say to you is I've built up the ability to allow experts to be experts. So I know about a lot of things or a lot of angles because I've done a lot of these things, right? And so I can speak about 1,000 different topics because I've just met a lot of people, read a lot of books. I'm experienced. But I'll let you be the expert on being a coach. I'll let you be the expert on this. And I'll take what I know and try to push it in as a shim to kind of give you something to stand on to show off your thing. The opposite of that is true is I want to be a great guest for you. Like right now on the show, I'm high energy. I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to, be punchy with my conversation. I'm doing that for you because I owe you that because I'm the guest of your thing. Yeah. It's the same thing where if I go out with you and you're like, hey, matter of fact, this happened last night. Pete, I'm going to take you out to dinner. I'm paying. I insist. I have no problem going because I'm in their town. I would want to take me out. Like if I came to town, I'm like, oh, Pete's here. I'm going to take him out to dinner and I'm going to impress him and I'm going to talk about my work and how great it is and how smart I am. Right? And you're not thinking these things, but that's what we all want to hear. I let that person be smart. I let them be great. I let them know the best restaurant in town. And I shut up and I act like a great guest because I've learned to become one. And that maybe is the difference where how do you take that opportunity and find a way to make it feel good? Maybe like me, we just don't like those events. I go to them, but I don't try to talk to every person there. I just try to have one quality relationship and then I immediately send them a connection and then usually nothing happens after that. And I'm like, why did I do that? And so that formula, I haven't figured it out, but I do tell myself to go because it's an exchange. But I get out so much that I don't necessarily need these performative ones. There's nothing wrong with them, but I haven't figured out a way to make them reliably valuable. Yeah. Where I'm at now in my life, my age, my plate is full. And if you want to get access on my plate, that's money. And then I'll scoot something off my plate, right? And if it's not that, then I don't need to talk to that person. I don't need more connections from that thing, unless I specifically need to meet somebody. And if I do, I'm going to probably find a more direct approach and save my time because there's a little bit of elegance in what I do. I hope that all made sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, what helps me a lot is because I've known a lot of people. I've been alive I'm 52 now. Had I been better at keeping in contact with the influential people that I've known, like when you go to college, if you go to Yale or you go to Harvard or something, you're meeting a lot of people that are eventually going to make their way up into some hierarchy of some corporate land or some politician who has influence and power over something. So it's like, had I been better at keeping in contact with those people, a lot of good things would have come from that. But because I thought, well, you're only wanting to keep in touch with them because of what you can get from them, that made me feel icky. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you just want to hang out with somebody for what you can get. That's gross. But I think in the way you're saying it, vulnerability and putting it out there's a sense of dissociation of that too, right? Like, I don't care what you think of me. I'm going to flow where you flow. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. I think the vulnerability and I think what I gather is a sense of dissociation from the emotional aspects of it.
I had this thought today. I took a picture and I'm 55, so I'm just a little bit older than you. And everybody else in that picture, there are three of us, are all older than me. And I look at, I'm doing my arm out thing, selfie, and I think I look like a hideous monster, right? But because I'm an adult now and my brain can have that thought, the next thought is, and you know the rule. You look way better than you realize. You're doing fine. Who cares if your eyes are always squinty and picture? Who cares? What matters is this moment. When you met this person, they're doing this wonderful thing. We're all taking this picture, and it's just not that big of why do I care so much emotionally about how I look? Of course I care. I don't want to be like slovenly. I have a pretty relaxed appearance most times, but I'd probably need a haircut. But who cares, right? We're doing something way more important than did Pete get a haircut. So when someone offers to buy me lunch, I say, okay, yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. That's kind of you. And I allow them to have the win. And I know that if I just calm down for a half a second, the guy can afford a $20 sandwich.
Sure.
And there's a benefit there. And so in general, I try to handle those things in that way. And so, yeah, I care a lot less about what I do than I used to. And also things that I don't think provide value, that don't get a spot on my plate. This is my plate. They don't get on my plate because there's all this stuff with our shows that we're supposed to do. Whenever I speak on Podmatch, I'm always saying things like, knock it off. Don't do all of the things. This is like coaching 101 to me, at least.
Yeah.
If you want to get more fit, if you want to get better at swimming, if you want to get a black belt, you just got to continue to show up every day. Like, that's the most basic thing you can do. Right?
Yeah.
Just continue to show up every day and you're going to get better. When it comes to these things that we're uncomfortable about, examine that thing. Why do I feel uncomfortable? Is that about me? And I learned this from the DOC, the rapper, the DOC. His girlfriend, Erica Badu, said to him, I don't think they quite mean, you carry around stuff that doesn't belong to you. Try putting that stuff down.
Mm.
It turns out I actually don't need to watch the news. I don't care. I don't miss it. I'm plenty informed, but I can curate my information. I don't care who the president is. I don't care who my senator is. Because if I'm doing my job, I'm the most important person in my life. I'm the one that creates all the change in my life. And if I need to improve the quality of my life, what am I doing? How do I improve that? When you think about relationships, I don't worry about the negative side of those things. And here's what I do. If Jake pops into my head, I'm going to send Jake a text. Hey, man, you popped into my head. Who doesn't want to get that text?
Right.
Man, wow.
Man, I can't. I don't remember.
Yeah, and I specifically mean mail. So if I sent you a nice card and said, hey, man, thanks for having me on the show. I think you're awesome. Anytime you want to call, give me a call. I let you know. You may never call me. But when you get that thing, you're like, wait, this isn't a bill. This is from Pete. Hey, what?
Yeah.
And you're going to tear it open and you're reading back. Oh, what a nice guy.
That's actually so true. Okay, I actually do remember, it was probably a couple months ago now, I got a handwritten note from somebody who wanted to buy my company. Just a handwritten. Yeah. And I thought, company's not for sale, but that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
Like, I'd sell it to the dude that sat down and wrote it out by hand.
Yeah. And now think about when you get that happy birthday from the insurance company and you're like, trash, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying it never works, but I don't believe them that they actually care, right?
Yeah, right.
It's all pre-programmed. And so I treat it like that. That's not important enough to get on my plate. And so it doesn't move me. But that person who offered to buy your company, you moved towards him in some small fashion.
It was an emotion. Yeah. Had I had 2 or 3 offers on the table for this business, it was going to be the guy who hand wrote out the letter.
In the right setting, it itself is a difference maker. And we're just talking about mail, man. So
we're often underestimating the small tweaks or emotional connections that we can make with other human beings, not necessarily solely for our value, but just to, let's say, to make them feel better or to improve their life or to encourage and edify them in some little way. And then maybe those connect at some point where they think of the text that you sent that was encouraging and they think, well, I know exactly who I can call for this. This is going to be a Pete thing. Let me connect this dude and Pete. And I think that might work out good. Opportunities, magical opportunities that may happen, may not happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Lives in Austin, and none of my friends has family in Austin, so he was going there. And I said, hey, we'll say Jeff and Dave. Jeff and Dave, you guys don't know each other, but you ought to. Why don't you go out to lunch? My friend Dave said, why did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Why not? And he said, well, why am I talking to this guy? And I'm like, because I think he's cool. You and I like the same kind of things. And so you're going out to lunch. Decent chance to buy you a pork chop. And he's like, what? Really? Why? And I'm like, don't do it if you don't want to. But I'm telling you, I'm your buddy. I've known this guy for decades, 40 years.
Wow.
Just go have lunch with Jeff.
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal. That's what he did. And he's like, I couldn't figure out why you wanted me to have lunch with Jeff, but you're right. He bought me a pork chop. It was great. We had a great chat. I may never talk to Jeff again, but thanks, man. I mean, I didn't anticipate that being so nice. And it was nice. But he had this thing, right? And look, I was being risky with that. Right. But I don't mind that failure. I'll tune my part of the machine up.
Where was the risk?
I don't know. Just like taking 2 unknown people, sitting for lunch together,
I mean, at very least, Dave goes, hey, dude, don't do that again. And you go, okay.
Right. Yeah. Yes, today I sent Dave a text. I'm like, hey, man, I need to set up a business meeting with you. I've got a real lead for him. right? He's going to be slow to respond or whatever, but that's all right. So I'll say, hey, dummy, I'm serious. You need to call me or let me know a time when I can set up a phone call with you so that we can talk about an opportunity. When you want, you call me and I'll brief you. And here's what you're going to say. Oh, man, that's an exciting opportunity.
Yeah.
Go to the next step and just let me set up a meeting for you. That's going to be beneficial. Oh, and by the way, I'll be there if you're that scared, but you're not. So just do it. We'll take it, because I can. I know Dave, right? So when we look for these opportunities, you don't have to be as direct and abrupt as I'm being, but I'm also trying to be a little bit efficient with that because I don't want to take all the steps with Dave, and I shouldn't have to. For whatever reason, he and I don't always vibe on these things in a great way, and probably because we both get wrapped up in our own ways.
But after 40 years, though, right?
Yeah.
Like after 40 years, if I knew you for 40 years and you said, hey, man, you need to meet with this guy over here, it's a good business opportunity, I'd probably be like, man, it's been 4 decades. The last thing you sent me turned me wrong with, the worst thing that can happen is I get a free pork chop out of the damn thing. So.
Yeah, I will. I'm trying to stuff money in your pocket. And maybe no money comes, but this is an opportunity, and 100% you'll think it's an opportunity. And if I was to explain it, which I can, you'd be like, where is Dave? Let's get Dave on the phone right now, right? Because some of these things they're just, the time is now, and so we're going to go straight forward. Maybe I could be more delicate, but also I need to get it done while I can. And right now I can, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I shouldn't have to, because Dave and I know each other so well.
Right. Can I give you a scenario? And so I'm trying to help the people who listen to this podcast navigate some of the complexities of working with in and out of society psychologically and kind of building rapport and kind of having influence and that kind of stuff and surviving crazy ass places. Like you've been into a lot of nutty stuff. So can I give you a scenario and you can kind of, and maybe we can work through a couple steps on how to navigate it?
Let's do it.
We get off the wrong exit of the freeway. We end up in South Central Los Angeles.
Okay.
Car runs out of gas. It's midnight.
Yes.
Right. And I choose the 80s for South Central because, even though it's still bad, you don't know the 80s. So you're with a couple friends, you get out of the car and lo and behold, here's the nightlife.
Yeah.
What do you do as somebody who is terrified out of their minds that they've just gotten off into a street, let's say into a neighborhood where cops don't even go at night? What's step one? What do I do?
I think step one for me is I would talk to someone. Hey, we're at a spot,
That helps because they're approaching us. So that it helps.
Yeah. It's so straightforward. What are you going to do? Run? If we're already effed, then we're already effed.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of this thing? And I would go up to any of them and say, hey, we're at a tough spot. Our car is broken down. It's out of gas. And I've got a Discover card and a turtleneck on with a chain around the outside. But how do I, and here's the thing is I wouldn't presume.
You just tied a bow on the 80s very nicely.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. I would presume that these were evil people. I would presume that these are good people, and there's magic in that. Yes, it may turn bad, but they're not just going to mug me because I showed up in their neighborhood. We've been waiting for you guys, right? And so if you go like, hey, I could use your help because we have this unfortunate situation. When I was in '89, I worked at Tower Records in Sacramento.
Okay.
And as cool as you could be, right? So for those who don't know, it's a really cool job. And we had tickets to things all the time. Like sometimes we got offered to work security for events because they're like, oh, you're music people. What? Can you guys come out and just stand around and maybe get paid just to stand around and things, right? And so I went to go see Eazy-E at the Elks Club. You can look it up. It happened in Sacramento. And I don't belong there. That's not my world. But also, I'm California. I knew who these guys were. I'm at Tower. I'm ahead of the game on the music thing. Right. And so I went. For sure, that concert got shut down that night before the end of the night because it was crazy. And I was like, it is time for me to leave. And I left, right? I don't mind being in those dangerous situations for whatever reason. And if you let black folks be black folks, they're not just going to go tear somebody apart because they're not animals.
Right.
So if you go to a black club, they're going to do things different than in a Puerto Rican club. And if you go to a Mexican club, they're going to do things different. So all these different places are fine, but you have to let their culture be normal. And so this is why I call it miscomfort, right? So when I'm walking down the street in South Central in 89 and I got my, my whole 89 kid outfit on, I know I'm standing out and I'm going to be a little bit scared, but I'm also going to let those people be good people.
Yeah.
And most people are going to, maybe there'll be some kind of problem, right? But again, if that was the case, that was always going to be the case. But you have a chance if you can find a connection.
Is there a cycle? So, I mean, there's two ways this scenario could go. Right. Sometimes, now I grew up in bad neighborhoods. I bleed Long Beach. You can smell it on me. I can go anywhere in LA I fit in.
Right.
And it's practically.
Right.
I don't know I know there's some kind knows kind. Like, it doesn't matter color of skin almost. But
yeah.
So, but you go there, there's two ways this could go. You can assume that somebody means you harm.
Right.
And that is going to communicate. Right. It's going to be the way that you stand. It's going to be the way that you address the people when they come up to you. And that relationship is established in the nonverbal communication.
Oh, for sure. You're communicating a lot of things.
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you run, then you give them a reason to chase you.
Right. Definitely offering. You're offering to be chased.
Yeah. You're scared. You treated us like we were bad guys in the way that you presented yourself. And then
you acted like prey.
Yeah. And you acted like prey. And then you started running. Well, what the hell? It's midnight. And we don't have anything else to do. We might as well chase this fool, right? Hey, man. Hey, thank God you guys are here.
Yeah.
We ran out of gas.
Yeah. And where can you find a hand? Or what do we do? What do you guys recommend? Like we don't know this neighborhood. What do we do? Where do we go? Is there any place open? And someone would be like, yeah, there's a place open over there, whatever it is, right? Or you know what? Maybe one of them is honestly, like maybe one of them is an Eagle Scout. It happens that I've got a gallon of gas in my car right now. But you go down the road and they fix your problem and you're like, I never expected to meet an Eagle Scout in South Central. No. But of course there was Eagle Scouts there, right? That's the whole thing.
And for sure, if you present positivity, if you present like we're not in danger here, because like you said, you might be effed either way. So you might as well present positive. And then maybe there's a guy there that goes, hey, you guys should not be here. And you go, thank God we found you guys because we need to get out. Who should we be afraid of?
When you talked about like how you can smell the Long Beach on you, right? Like there's so much drama in the LBC. But I go to Long Beach and I'm talking to the guys who are in the band War. I've interviewed two of those guys in my show, and one of them's Harold Brown. Harold Brown still lives in Long Beach. And so I can walk, no one's going to touch me at all.
Right.
And I walk, first off, I'm an old man, but let's say I was that 19-year-old kid, and I'm going to go interview Harold Brown for my show. Oh, we walking over to his house.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the best tacos. Hey, do you guys have a Sancho's around here? Sancho's just down the road. I heard there was one over here. No, dummy. Let me show you the best tacos in town. All right, great.
All right.
But I'm not going to fall into that trap. Now, a 19-year-old me might get into a fight because, 19-year-old me like to fight a little bit.
What's the trap there, though? Is it the ego?
Yeah, I think so. Ego. Yeah, for sure. You have to have an ego, but you have to have it on a collar, and that primal thing that we do when we're younger, where the first response is this bad thing, and then you're like, calm down, Pete. Calm down. One of these kids is going to be an Eagle Scout. One of them is going to have an idea. Yeah. Maybe I don't find that person, but I'm going to let them be great. And watch how much greatness you collect. Yes, you're going to get burned, of course. But when you're collecting greatness, when you're gathering joy by design and how you act, let me tell you something, it pays off.
I like that. That's, when you're collecting greatness, when you're letting them, not even letting them, it's not like you're giving them permission to be great. They're human beings. They're already, if you go into it with that kind of presupposition that it's like, hey, we're all made in the image of God. You have that integrity. You have that about you. That's already embedded. And so I'm going to treat you as such. And then by doing so, there is an underlying subconscious communication that happens. At the very least, you walk out of South Central LA in 1989. Best case scenario, you walk out with a couple of good friends.
Yeah, and like if that one of those kids is like, oh, my dad is here to pick me up because our car broke down too. Like that wouldn't surprise you. Like, oh yeah, of course there's a dad coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, now I've been introduced to somebody else in the village, you know? So, yeah, this is the spy thing. I just got introduced to somebody else in your village. Oh, cool. Well, who are you related to? Oh, whatever. Who are the uncles? Who are the people who make things happen? I'm now one rung closer to whatever direction the ladder is going to go.
Yeah.
I've advanced.
You're one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whoever that might be.
Right.
And that's influence. Because if you can get to that, you already have influence because you've met the person that could get you to the show.
And when they're introducing me to their uncle, that's way better than me having to do all the work of finding that person myself. Right.
That's so
pretty influential.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me introduce you to this guy. This guy's great.
Yeah. Is it hairy? Is it hectic? Is it scary? Yes. Yeah. My job, the spy world, is to be like, yeah, of course, all these bad things might happen. And I'll tell you this, because this should resonate with what we've talked about. So when I get to a new area, I'm doing my job, right? And I'm good at my job. And I know that because I've done it a lot more than most any Army people you ever meet. And when the person from the intelligence office, we call it the two-shot. When the two-shot, younger person runs out, Pete, they know who you are. They want to kill you. I'm like, yes. Because now I'm on the field with Tom Brady and I've got a number and I exist. And now I do things and they're going to respond to it. And that allows the unit to protect themselves better, to plan better. And so I write reports. And so I want to know people who are dangerous. I want to get to know the meanest, nastiest person in that place. And if that means I've got to expose myself to threat, that's already happened. That has to happen. I can't do this without that. Maybe other people can, but I can't. Right. And here's the ultimate thing, right? This is the multi-degree black belt. When that warlord says, "Get Pete, he's my advisor."
Oh,
relationship altogether.
Then how good does that feel?
The best. Because now, not only am I satisfying my boss and giving him access to somebody, that person will be like, hey, you know what? I'm actually not trying to die. Can we work together on something? Like that can happen.
Right.
I have to be hands off the reins, but I want to keep the horse going in a direction. But if it keeps going to the left, I'm just going to let it go to the left and let that journey be that part of the journey and then see what needs doing there, and just work small and work your way up. But I'm telling you that if you approach those things in that way, that person who's so influential that they're a warlord in that area, I just want to let them be great. Let them figure out what they're doing. I'm not going to make them stop killing people. Like, how am I going to do that? Right. And I can't just kill that person because they're important in that area. They're probably the main support. They probably are the government in that area.
Yeah.
But if you kill the person who's the main person in that area and you try to sort out and play God, it gets really hard. And by the way, if I kill that person, I can't come back. I can't come back to that area.
And at very least, you have to start all over.
All over again.
Because some vacuum's going to open up. Some other warlord's going to want, there's going to be dissension and people fighting for that role.
And I'm the guy that murdered somebody's uncle.
And you're the guy, and now you're not trustworthy. How can we let him into the higher ranking world of warlords? We definitely can't let Pete in. He smoked the last dude that was here. The
guy that smokes fools, right?
All of a sudden, he's no good to us. He's just going to smoke the next dude that shows up. So he's got to bail.
Right.
That makes sense, man. Well, hey, Pete, tell people where they can reach you. Instagram.
Yeah. X is the best place. Pete A. Turner on X. You can go to my YouTube channel, Pete A. Turner, or Break It Down Show. It'll come up. I'm not too hard to find. Pete at breakitdownshow.com if you want to run something by me. I'm glad to hear from you. If my show's your thing, great. If not, make sure you guys are supporting Jake. It's tough to do these things. And just a little bit of encouragement, it goes a long way for folks like us to do these things. I appreciate all your guys' time, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for that. And the Break It Down Show is, dude, you got some heavy hitters on that show. Intelligence, all these things that you're involved in. That is a super interesting show, man. I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you around for sure.
Let's get that coffee.
Yeah, for sure.
If you enjoyed this show, make sure to subscribe.